Good morning, and we are live. We've got a lot to talk about today. Things are getting crazy in Iran. Democrats are raising hell in Congress, and it's one thing after another after another. There's so much to talk about today. We had a hard time choosing our topics, so let's just dig right into it. Well, let's just take a look at how the Dow's doing to start with, just to frame our conversation, just to peek and see what we're looking at. Yeah, it's crashing again today. Instability. Just can't get enough of it. One thing after another after another. Yeah, we got some new stuff going on in Iran. We're gonna get right to that, but before we do, I just want to, yeah, Bitcoin's crashing again. Yeah, bond rates are rising. Why? Well, we got some new developments in Iran, and everybody's pretty much freaking out about it. But before we get there, let's just take a moment to enjoy just how unstable our leadership is right now. So the Trump regime is completely undefendable. It's completely indefensible. The economy is tanking. Foreign policy is a disaster. Um, they're violating the Constitution. There's no front in which Republicans can stand in front of a mic and actually defend this regime. So what do? Lie. That's what they do. Here's Ralph Norman talking about ICE on the immigration front.
And they don't want them deported. They don't want ICE to let them do their job. You got to remember, ICE agents were assaulted. They were up. The assaults on ICE agents were up in Minnesota 1,500%. They have families. They were doxxed. Their homes were, raided by these, the agitators. So,
okay, yeah, that's making the rounds on the right wing. It is. That's the news story. ICE were the victims up in Minnesota. Poor ICE was just getting the shit beat out of them. They were. We showed video after video after video of ICE are the aggressors, but then they're taking it a step further. And did you know that these ICE agents are being doxxed and their homes are being invaded by agitators? I'll take shit that didn't happen for 1,000, Alex. Do you know how long that would be front page freaking news if agitators were invading ICE homes? Do you know how insane that would be? But yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. But really, this is what they're going to do. This is what they're going to do. It's just one thing after another on every front. They're just going to lie. Here's Mehmet Oz talking about people are just. Did you know they're doing this? I mean, I don't know about you, but this didn't make it on to my news. I didn't hear about this. Apparently, they're just kidnapping old people for their Medicare. And there's a big conspiracy. There's a big national conspiracy that they're gonna, just kidnap grandma. And you can tell I put my hokey foghorn leghorn voice on. Just laying it on thick for you. Every time the bullshit gets this deep, I got to go this way, Apparently they're just kidnapping grandma for her Medicare benefits and pretending to take care of her. I know it's so stupid. I know it's so stupid. It is so stupid, but really, well, let the man tell you himself.
Imagined 1/3 of all hospices in the entire country are in Los Angeles. Think about this. I mean, how much death is there in Los Angeles? 1/3 of all the hospices designed for people at the end of their life are in LA County. Now, what I've learned is since you corrupted that system and built so many fraudulent centers, which clearly aren't providing high quality services. In fact, most people seem to survive the 6-month period you're supposed to be in hospice in California. It has better actuarial survival than you and I do right now to be in one of these hospices. They're definitely not picking patients who are at risk. It creates an ecosystem where other fraudsters get involved. So what I just showed in that video that you were kind enough to display is the reality that people who own homes can now take these seniors, kidnap them, traffic their Medicare information, and get hospices to pretend that they're taking care of them. Again, the people in the hospice have no idea this is happening. The people in these homes are completely off to the side.
It's frightening.
It's bullshit is what it is. Everything you just heard was bullshit. There. Oh my God. They just, I just can't with these people. This is really what they're going to do. They've got nothing else. They're just going to make shit up on every front. They're just going to invent shit. 1/3 of all hospices are in LA County. No, that's just not true. That's not. A lot are. Disproportionately, a lot more are. A more affluent area where people are more likely to get hospice care, but no, it's not 1/3 of that he just made that up. And no, nobody is kidnapping grandma to hospice care just for her benefits. It's just not happening. It's just not happening. But yeah, I mean, here we have Joaquin Castro. And you know what? Before I go, this has been bothering me about this. This has been bothering me. When you hear Mark Wayne Mullen say something stupid, because we're going to look a little bit at his confirmation. When you hear him say something stupid, he's genuinely stupid. He's from Oklahoma, and he's dumb as dog shit. He really is. When he says something stupid, he believes it. Mehmet Oz is not stupid. He's not. He's an accomplished surgeon. He's very well educated. He's actually very well aware of what is going on in our healthcare industry. And for him to stand up there and say this shit that shows you what is inside him. That shows you what he is. This is intentional on his part. This is him looking down his nose at you, thinking you're stupid enough to believe this shit, because most MAGA voters are. That's what we're looking at, folks. And it doesn't end there. We got kudos to Joaquin Castro. If you haven't been paying attention, Democrats have just been punching Republicans in the face left and right. They have been punching Republicans in the face left and right. They're just not accepting the bullshit anymore. Well, they never really have, to be quite honest with you. They've never just accepted it. They've always called them out on it, but it is finally getting some coverage in the news. So we saw this from last week, the hearing just a couple days ago with Tulsi Gabbard and Kash Patel, and they're supposed to be giving us updates on what's going on with Iran, but they're saying, "Oh, we can't do it because some of it's classified, and we can't give you that information." And here's kudos to Congressman Castro just calling them out, because again, just lie, right? I mean,
thank you, Chairman. Tulsi, you and I came into the Congress together in 2013. And Kash, you and I was serving on the Intelligence Committee when you worked on the Intelligence Committee. And John, you and I are both from Texas, and we both served together on the Intelligence Committee. The idea that this information, if it was presented to our committee, would not be classified, y'all know is a lie. That's ridiculous. I've seen things much less sensitive be presented to us with high classification. And to say that it isn't is a lie to the country. Thank you, Chairman.
We can't cooperate because it'll make information unclassified, and we can't do that. I mean, can't do. And no, that's a lie. That's a lie. It is. It's just a lie. And it's all they've got. It's all they've got. Pete Hegseth, Mr. Warfighter. Yeah. They did another transfer, a dignified transfer, in which case no cameras were allowed, so that you couldn't see that Trump was wearing his baseball cap to keep his hair from flapping in the wind. His bald head exposed. They had another transfer. And after the transfer, he had meetings with the families. Both Hegseth and Trump did. Well, the next day, Hegseth had a press conference in which he told everybody, man, the whole damn, everybody there just told us, "Oh, you must finish this mission. You must finish this mission. It is so important. You must finish this mission." No, that never happened. That never happened. Those conversations never happened. It just is what it is. I mean, on every front, in every situation, it looks like they're just going to come out and they're just going to lie. They can't deal with what's going on. They just can't. Their justification for the war is a lie. You've got Joe Kent, who's done an interview with Tucker Carlson, of all people. Yeah, I've got to show you a clip of Tucker Carlson actually breaking news. that in and of itself is just, there's so many emotions there. It's frustrating. It's infuriating. I don't want to hear Tucker Carlson, but yet here it is. You know, I told you Joe Kent was not your friend. I told you what Joe Kent was. He's not going to sit down with the media, you know, an actual reporter and do this. He's just not. He's not going to do it. But he will sit down with Tucker Carlson, one of the people that got him where he was in the first place. I guess you dance with the one that brung you. And he's just going to tell you they lied. They lied.
There was no intelligence that said, hey, on whatever day it was, March 1st, the Iranians are going to launch this big sneak attack. They're going to do some kind of a 9/11 Pearl Harbor, et cetera. They're going to attack one of our bases. There was none of that intelligence. Again, back to what we know about the Iranians, they're very, very deliberate with the escalation ladder. And again, they're only deliberate under President Trump's leadership because they knew and they took President Trump very, very seriously.
Bro, licking that taint ain't going to help you. It's just not. It's just not. You are under the bus. You're going to stay under the bus. You are saying something that is just completely, it undermines everything that they've ever said about why we are in Iran. Licking that taint ain't going to help you, bro. It's not. But it is a cult. So, you know, you cannot disparage dear leader. You just can't do that. You've got to, you know, when you say something that goes counter to anything, you've got to end it with a little taint licking. You just got to do it. When forced to tell the truth, they can't. They just freeze up. This hearing was actually much more awkward than this. I don't have time today to just show you clips of Tulsi Gabbard sitting in silence. That happened quite a bit. When asked a question that was direct, that she knew was going to blow up their narrative, she actually sat in silence. She did it for so long that Joaquin Castro had to tell her, this is where you speak. I mean, it is really amazing. But when actually boxed in by Democrats, I mean, kudos to the Democrats for doing a great job at framing questions and not letting them, this is as close to the truth as you can get out of them.
The death and destruction continues. The economic cost to the United States, to Israel, to the Gulf states, and to the world continues to increase. So I want to ask you, to the best of your knowledge, do you know whether Israel is supportive of the president's call to make a deal with Iran?
I don't know the answer to that. I don't know Israel's position on that.
And to what do you attribute Israel's decision to strike Iranian energy infrastructure, despite President Trump's call to keep those facilities off limits?
I don't have an answer for that.
So they ignored the president. Do you agree with that?
I'm not privy to any of their deliberations or what went into their calculus.
Yes, you are. Yes, you are. You're the director of national intelligence. Of anyone in this nation that knows what Israel's deliberations were, she does. She does. She knows more than the president does. That's just a fact. She knows way more than the president does, because this president cannot absorb information. So there's limited amount of information they can feed him. You know, you can only draw so many crayon pictures. She's just going to sit there and she's going to lie. She is. She's just going to sit there and she's going to lie. Anything that isn't flattering, they're just going to lie, and lie poorly. This is Kash Patel. When boxed in about the fact that you just fired our top counterterrorism people. While we are in a war, you did this. This is his response.
How many days before we invaded Iran did you know we were going to launch an invasion?
We can get into those details in a classified setting, but I work with my colleagues across the spectrum here to give me advance warning so that we can reinforce.
Was it 2 days, 3 days, a month?
It was sometime before that, sir.
Sometime before that. So you had done. With that knowledge, why did you fire at least a dozen agents in Counterintelligence Unit 12 that specializes in Iran counterintelligence, which makes us much less secure and safe with this war going on from Iranian attacks potentially against our country?
As I said earlier, Congressman, I don't work on timelines when these terminations occur. There are internal investigations conducted by the careers at the FBI that highlight unethical or inappropriate conduct, and it's up to me to make the decision. But our Iran Threats Mission Center has never been more resourced. As I've highlighted, a 43% increase in counter-espionage arrests from Iran alone, and 360 ongoing terrorism investigations with Iran-affiliated
And the people you fired, those 12 people, they were experts on Iran, were they not?
I don't believe so.
They worked in counterintelligence, did they not?
I'm taking you at your word, sir. I'm not familiar with every
You're the
single
chief
word.
director. I'm not. You should know the answer. You fired the people. Where did they work?
People were terminated for violating their ethical obligations and the high standards.
Was
that
the
we
ethical
have.
violations that they dealt with the case of the classified documents that were found at the bathroom in Mar-a-Lago, was that the ethical issue?
As I said earlier, all those matters are pending.
Yeah, it was. It was. Trump wanted revenge for the fact that his little goodies that he had stashed in the bathroom got taken away from him. And so he had Kash Patel fire everybody involved. These people worked in counterintelligence. They worked in the specific division that deals with Iran. And they fired them right before the invasion. So what do you do in that situation? You lie. If you're a Republican, if you're part of the Trump regime, you just lie. Because it's so blatantly incompetent and blatantly stupid and blatantly petty. It's indefensible. So what do? You just lie. You just lie. But it doesn't really get any better. It just doesn't get any better. This is how twisted and incompetent this entire this just encompasses it all. I mean, just how blatantly unprepared. They didn't even work on their own messaging, much less work to try to get the country behind them. Any of the things that you need to do before you invade someone. None of it. None of it. And they're not, well, look, I'll let you watch it, but we'll talk about it on the other side. Hold on.
This to you. Did the IC brief the president on who would succeed the supreme leader if he was killed and the likelihood that a replacement would be a hardliner?
Was the president, say it again, was the president...
Did the IC brief the president on who would succeed the supreme leader if he was killed and the likelihood that a replacement would be a hardliner or could be a hardliner.
So to be clear, the president's objectives with respect to Operation Epic Fury did not include regime change. That may be different from what Israel's objectives were, but yes, the president was briefed in the event that Supreme
That's
Leader.
good. That's great. Thank you so much. I'm sorry to cut you off. I just
So to be clear, the president's objectives with respect to Operation Epic Fury did not include regime change. That may be different from what Israel's objectives were, but yes, the president was briefed in the event that Supreme
that's
Leader.
good. That's great. Thank you so much. I'm sorry to cut you off. I just have 20 seconds. Director, this to you. Did the IC brief the president on who would succeed?
So the answer there was no. The answer there was no. But in no, he comes out and creates opens a whole nother can of worms. There was no coordination. There was no understanding. They agreed to participate in this according to their own assessment, according to their own. I mean, this is them telling you this. This isn't me telling you, oh, I think. This is their best case scenario, them telling you we weren't on the same page. We just weren't. Israel's just doing its own thing. We don't know what they were thinking. We don't know what their deliberations were. We don't know what's going on with them. We had different objectives, and they just kind of did their own thing. That's their best sell at this point. That's a lie. It's a lie. But that's their best sell. And it's getting worse, folks. It's getting worse. There's a reason the Dow is crashing today. People are just now coming to the understanding that this is actually getting worse. But let's hear a little bit more. Let's just hear a little bit more from the president. He was just sitting down with the Prime Minister of Japan. Just so you have an idea where his head is. You have to understand he gets briefed and he's very limited. He's stupid. He was never intelligent, and he's sundowning. And you could tell he's sundowning here when he's talking to the Prime Minister of Japan. This is his best regurgitation of the intelligence that he's been presented. The best he can do.
I mean, we've demolished, that country is close to demolished. The only thing is the strait. It's very hard. You could take two people and they could drop little bombs in the water and they're holding things up. We don't want that to happen. But I mean,
So in Trump's mind, there are two guys in rowboats out there dropping little bombs in the water. And I just want you to take a second. And I want you to think about the intelligent briefing that led him there. And to say that in front of the Prime Minister of Japan, I have to tell you, go back and watch that whole. It's just the looks on her face. She probably spends 10 solid minutes with this expression. I mean, just she cannot believe what she's hearing. But I want you to think for a second. Just really think about the brief that he had to get. And this is where his mind is. I mean, he has access to the best intelligence. He has access to absolute professionals that explain to him in no uncertain terms how narrow the strait is, the military capabilities of Iran, drone capabilities, mining capabilities, and this is where he is. Sitting in front of a camera, Trump absolutely, with his best efforts, in front of someone who's very important, because I need you to understand that meeting that he was having was Japan explaining to him how much of their energy they get out of the Persian Gulf and how desperately they need it and how much this is destroying their economy. This was an intensely serious meeting. And he just sits there and says, well, you just get a couple guys and they just drop a few bombs in the water and, that's it, that's it. And I know I'm making a lot of this. I know that. But damn it, I know the standard we're held to. I know what the reaction would be if this were Barack Obama, if this were Joe Biden. If Joe Biden had said something like that, they would have demanded to see an MRI of his brain. All you would have heard about for weeks is how Joe Biden humiliated us in front of Japan, in front of our allies. But this is just like normal for them. This is just normal for them. And and mind you, I want you to understand, again, big picture. What is Trump focused on while this is happening? What is Trump focused on while this is happening? What is he doing? He's designing a coin. This just happened and right under the radar. A sitting president of the United States has ordered and gotten the U.S. Mint. He stacked the board that controls the artistic decisions that are made at the Mint with sycophants, Trump cultists, and they're going to create a gold Trump coin and a $1 Trump coin that's going to go into circulation. Yeah, your dollar coin is now going to have this fucker's face on it. I'm not even kidding. This is what he's doing. This is what he's focused on. You can tell by the fact that this is all he could regurgitate. This is all he could come up with when sitting with the prime minister of Japan in a critically important meeting where our allies are telling us, you're fucking us. We've got to do something about this. We have got to end this. We have got to get this under control. We have got to, and two guys in the boat with some little bombs, man. I mean, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? Two guys in a boat with little bombs. Because he's fucking focused on a coin. Here, let me get you. Let me get you an image. Let me just get you an image. I shit you not. This is going to be our new dollar coin. I should have had this for you, and I do apologize. I can't with this. I just can't with this. This insanity is off the charts. And I'll tell you, folks, the reason I'm making a big deal about this is we're going somewhere with this. Netanyahu, all the people that have been saying, oh, Netanyahu's dead and it's all AI. Well, Netanyahu came out of his hole and he had his first in-person press conference since the war began. And oh boy, was it a doozy. Was it a doozy. He came out and he said, we can't win this. We can't win this with air power alone and bombings. We're going to need America to invade. No shit. I mean, he just said it's going to take an invasion force. It's going to take boots on the ground. That's what it's going to take to win. Not even kidding. Not even a little bit. Not even a little bit. Am I kidding? Stood in front of a mic and said, can't win this with air power. It's not going to happen. We've got to invade. And when he says we, he doesn't mean the IDF. The IDF cannot, it doesn't have the capability. People talk about fucking Israel like they're some godly fucking force. They aren't. They just fucking aren't. They can kick the shit out of civilians in the goddamn desert. But as far as a straight up kicking ass contest, Turkey would kick their ass. He's not talking about his force. He's just talking about our forces. So, Trump's boss has told him what to do. So this is what we're going to do. This was a trial balloon into the press. Just let that soak in for a little bit. One of the idiots that got us in this in the first place has sat down with Trump with a little box of crayon, and they have told Trump that we can win this if we just invade Kharg Island. If we just invade Kharg Island, that'll just take over Iran's oil infrastructure. Kharg Island is where they ship out of. Here, let's go to the map. Let's go to the map. Just to remind everybody, just in case somebody's new to the show. By the way, hit the thumbs up button. Let's do this. Let's go to Kharg Island. And just so you can get an aerial view of what we're talking about, where it is, what they're talking about doing. This is Kharg Island. It's an oil depot. It's where Iran ships its oil out of. Without this, their economy collapses. It does. It collapses. But here's the thing. You can collapse a country's economy, but in a war, it doesn't matter. They'll invent a new one. They'll invent a fake one. They just will. Internally, they'll just say, it's just the way that works, folks. Internally, Iran will just say your currency's worth X, and that's what it is. Someone has convinced Trump that if they take over this island, which, by the way, this is where it's located, in the Persian Gulf. It's in the northern Persian Gulf. This is Iran. Let me pull the layers off so you can get a better idea. I mean, folks, Iran has been planning on defending this one little piece of territory for 40 years. They're prepared for this. This island is in no man's land. They have complete and utter control of every single person that sets foot on that island. They know its value. They know they're prepared for this. They are prepared for this. They have been, if this is your primary output for oil to the rest of the world, you just know that this is going to be a target. They're planning for this. And I want you to think about this, folks. Right now, we have allies that are getting oil from Iran. That's the mind-blowing thing. While this is going on, Iran is still selling oil. And prices are what they are today. Let's go take a look at the oil prices real quick. I haven't checked oil prices yet today. Climbing, wouldn't you know? Wouldn't you know? West Texas Intermediates head towards 100 a barrel. Brent crude is headed towards 110 a barrel. Oil prices are spiking because let me tell you what's going on here and what Iran's response to this has been. You take Kharg Island, we'll just shut the pipelines off. See, Trump is stupid enough to believe that if they take Kharg Island, Iran will leave the pipelines on and Iran will let us sell their oil. No, that's not how any of this works. That's not how any of this works. And experts in the field are saying if Trump does this and forces Iran to go nuclear, and I don't mean like nuclear weapons, I mean as in right now, they have held back on the oil infrastructure that they can reach. They have. They have not gone full out nuclear on all of the oil and gas infrastructure in the Persian Gulf. If we take Kharg Island, all bets are off. You will see $180 to $200 a barrel oil the moment they do that. But that's common sense. That's normal people speak. That's people that are outside the bubble speak. Trump doesn't hear that. Trump listens to Netanyahu, his boss, and we're going to invade. They've already moved the troops into place. By the way, they have. They have already moved the troops into place. And groups like Politico, which I've already warned you that the owner of Politico is the guy that runs Politico and the owner of Politico are Trumpers. They are Trumpers. So they are doing polls like this. Trump stretches America first on Iran. His voters are going along with it. Still, his hold could grow more tenuous if the number of U.S. casualties rises and the war stretches into the summer. But yeah, if you read the article and you take a look at the polls, sorry about that. If you take a look at the polls, oh my God. They're running polls to convince the president it's going to be okay. Because if you talk to MAGA, they're all good. No shit. It's not surprising, just like everything else. I mean, Epstein, pedophiles, all that stuff, they were good with it. As soon as they found out it was all Trump, they don't want to hear about it anymore. It doesn't matter what it is. It doesn't matter what failure. It doesn't matter if it is something that they have been saying over and over and over again themselves is a bad thing. The minute Trump does it, it's a good thing. Doesn't matter. And you're unpatriotic because you don't want to go along. That's literally what that polling says. And that's what they're feeding Trump. Not that I think Trump's, would like make a good decision if he had real information, other than he's absolutely terrified of bad polls. So they're just making good ones for him. They're just making the people that are aligned with Putin are feeding Trump information that will allow him to do everything they want him to do. They want us committed into a ground war in Iran. They do. Netanyahu wants us tying up Iran so that he can invade Lebanon and move their northern border north. Putin wants us tied up in a ground war in Iran just because he wants us to be destroyed, period. China doesn't care. They really don't care. They look like the grown-ups in the room. They would love to see us destroyed because they'd be the last man standing with our stature, our manufacturing capabilities, and I'm not being arrogant, folks. Our European audience, I am not being arrogant. The numbers are what they are. As far as just sheer production, sheer GDP, it's us than China. It's the last two players in the room. China, we talked about the pipeline that runs straight out of the Caspian Sea through Kazakhstan, straight to China. They don't need what's coming out of the Persian Gulf. They don't care about any of this. So if we invade Iran, they're like, sure, why not? Go ahead. Shoot yourself in the foot. This is where we are, folks. And they're saying it out loud. Benjamin Netanyahu walked up to a microphone in his first presser that he knew would be global. This was his first live press conference since the war started, and said into that microphone, we got to invade. That's the only way we win this. That's what we're going to do. That's what we're going to do. And I just was horrified when I pulled this up. I started looking into all the different elements of it. Does he have the support? Does he have the people around him that are willing to? And then I started looking at the responses that were coming. No one is opposing Israel in any of the hearings. No one is, oh, no. I mean, they're scrambling. There's no one in the room that is opposing this. Then you have people like, Politico and, the other right-wing pollsters that are creating polls saying, you're fine. You're good. You're good. And it's like that scene. Did anybody ever see, one second. Let me get you an image. From Tombstone. One second. Yeah, I know this is silliness, but I love movies. Anybody remember that scene when they go to the OK Corral and Doc Holliday winks at the guy, and you see the guy's face change from nervousness to scared to just pissed off, and Kurt Russell's character just, oh my God, because he just saw what just happened. He knows what's about to happen. That is exactly where I was coming into this show. That's exactly where I was coming into this show. I'm just looking at what's going on around Donald Trump, knowing what Donald Trump is. And I just kept saying to myself, oh my God. Because this is where we are. This is where we are. Toyota Corolla, hello from California. Gas where I live is now $5.09 a gallon and climbing, along with 17% of the global LPG being taken offline and bond yields spiking. Saying that we're fucked is an understatement. Before I continue reading those, just a segue off of this, does anybody, and this is a live show, so I expect an answer to this, do any of y'all plan to lose any weight in the future? Anybody planning on doing a diet? Summer bod, that thing, is anybody on that plan? Going to lose some weight? Well, you're gonna lose some weight, whether you want to or not. It's just a little segue for Sunday's show. I want you to be here for it. But yeah, farmers are in full fucking freak out mode right now. You have no idea what's happening to the fertilizer markets. And farmers are screaming to anyone who will listen. You will not have food. If I cannot fertilize, you don't get food. And they can't. Farmers are having a hard time getting fertilizer. And when they do get it, it is astro-fucking-nomically high right now. So not only do farmers have the problem that, a farmer will buy 30,000 gallons of diesel in a year. A big farmer will buy 50, 70,000 gallons of diesel in a year. Their diesel prices have just spiked. That input cost has just spiked. Now, if they can get fertilizer, they're fucked. Their prices are absolutely astro-fucking-nomical. And they are outright telling people, we can't produce the food. That 1.4 billion pounds of food I keep telling you has to be produced every single goddamn day in this country? Every single day? Farmers are begging you to hear. They can't do it. Not in these conditions. There are farmers screaming at the top of their lungs, if this does not stop soon, this is my last crop. And I told you, farmers are old. They are. Just a class of people, farmers are old. There aren't many 20 and 30-year-old farmers out there. There's a lot of 60 and 70-year-old farmers out there. And they are telling you to your face, if these conditions continue, I'm out. I'm going to lose money on this crop, and I will not plant another. And this crop will not meet your needs because I cannot fertilize the way I need to fertilize for you to get this crop. Now, when wheat and corn and these are some of the base staples that are the foundation of our entire food system, wheat and corn intensely require fertilizer more than other crops. I want you to think for a second. We'll get into it in more detail on Sunday. I want you to think for a second. What does that do to your food prices? Corn and its byproducts are in every fucking thing. You know, for years, you've been hearing about how notoriously sweet the U.S. diet is because they put high fructose corn syrup in fucking everything. And that's before you get to the bun. This is insane. Let's go back to the comments. We'll talk more about that on Sunday. Kira, good to see you. Good to see you. Happy spring to you. Thank you for supporting the show. Scott's, good morning from McAllen. Ask him. He's in the valley. Ask him what farmers, agriculture is huge in the valley. He's down there. Ask him about it. Good morning from McAllen, Paul. Monica de la Cruz had a foot and mouth moment regarding Bobby Polito and quinceañeras. It's a hilarious story. I got to read up on that one. I do. I got to read up on that one. Omniscient Sphinx, good morning. It's time for the Church of Coffee with the good Reverend. Thanks for being here, brother. Thank you. E.T. to the tune of the Inquisition, stagflation. Let's begin. Stagflation. Look out. Get involved, people. Yep. Making fun of me, Lori. I'll say, boy. I laugh my ass off every time I hear John Kennedy speak. He is so full of shit. That is not the way he talks. He is an educated lawyer. Well, let's talk about what's going on. I mean, don't you know? Come on, man. Come on. Bugman Jolly, thank you for being here. What is your take on Graham Plattner? He has made some remarks which are concerning. Is he another Fetterman? I will say this. Graham Plattner is going to be a conservative Democrat. You just know that from his background. The rest of it, that's a lot of people speaking for him a lot of the time. And then ignoring what he says when he replies to the things that they say about him. Is he going to be helpful in moving the party left? No, he's not. But can he get elected where he's at? Yeah, he's doing it. You know, it is what it is, folks. We are a big tent party. You know, I get it. A lot of us don't like these ones that are over here on the right. You know, I mean, by the way, this is my right hand mirrored image. They don't like these folks that are over on the right. But it is what it is. I mean, he's got to get elected where he's at, or, you know, it's just not going to happen. It's, it's Maine. Okay, Oz may have well just said they're eating the dogs, they're eating the cat, they're the cats of the people who live there. It's just as true. I mean, I know. I mean, he's just flat out, and again, it just he knows better. He knows better. Monica Meadows just saw a video of Pete Keg's Breath congregation talking about wanting God to murder Tallarico. It was pretty disgusting. I got to tell you, you know what? Let's put a pin in these comments for just a second. I got a little something for you from Brother Tallarico. Just all the things that we've seen and heard out of Republicans. Let me see if I can find that clip for you. I accidentally deleted it. You know what? It was a good one. Let me pull it back up for you. Let me get in my history. There you go. That didn't take very long. All right. By the way, you can follow James Tallarico over on Facebook. Compare this to what you're hearing.
The President of the United States
Republican
just said that I insulted Jesus. You want to know what insults Jesus? Kicking the sick off their health care while cutting taxes for billionaires. You know what insults Jesus? Deporting the stranger and separating babies from their mothers. You know what insults Jesus? Bombing innocent school children in Iran and sending our brave men and women off to die in another forever war. You know what insults Jesus? Covering up the Epstein files and then refusing to prosecute a single person in them. I am not a perfect Christian. I don't claim to be. There's only been one perfect Christian, and he was crucified on a cross 2,000 years ago. Jesus told us, he told us to love our neighbors as ourselves. He told us on earth as it is in heaven. Can we imagine war in heaven? Can we imagine bigotry in heaven? Can we imagine poverty in heaven?
Now, I know a lot of people are turned off by the religion talk from James Tallarico. I get that. But this is Texas. We are the buckle of the Bible Belt. It plays very well here. And the confidence in which he speaks, the full-throatedness in which he speaks is incredibly appealing. Not to mention that he obviously does not have dementia. Just compare the way he speaks, the way John Ossoff speaks, the way Democrats in general, Robert Garcia. There are so many Democrats out there that are just laying it down, man. And compare that to these liars that you've heard. These mealy-mouthed, mush-mouthed Republican liars. I am feeling really good about the midterms. I am. Netadal says, look here, look there. All the while the U.S. is collapsing. I am telling you, this is not hyperbole. If we do not seize control in the midterms, it is going to be everything you've seen so far on steroids coming out of the Trump regime. If we fail, we will deserve what happens next. And I issue the same fucking warning to my friends in Israel, to the people on the left that don't support Netanyahu, don't support his insanity. There are people on the left in Israel. If you don't get this fucker under control, it will be the end of you, and you will have deserved it. E.T., the Mad King talking to that one Japanese reporter about how they know about surprise attacks in front of the Japanese prime minister. Yeah, that happened, folks. That happened. Of course, he's talking to the Japanese prime minister, so he brings up Pearl Harbor. He was also very rude to one of the Japanese reporters. When the prime minister of another country comes here, their press is part of the pool. Of course, this is going to play in Japan. Trump's talking about guys in a little boat with bombs. He's talking about Pearl Harbor. He's talking about, and then he insults the first Japanese reporter to ask him a question. He's got an accent. I swear to God, he said this. He's got an accent. Is he one of the good ones? He really said that shit, man. And that's going to play in Japan. Oh, my God. Oh. Dark Sunray, Texas Paul, just the most loving, bitter bite we need. Thank you for me and my husband. And it's a lot easier to lie in shoes that are too big. Amen. Amen. Rich Lawton, Saturday, March 28th, No Kings March. Just remember to hit like and the share button. Thanks. I appreciate you, man. I appreciate you always being here, Rich. I really do. And yeah, I'm looking forward to No Kings Day. I'm going to be out there raising hell. Are you? Springtime, baby. It's time for No Kings Day. Let's do it. Mike Daly, the Dim. Good morning, brother. Enjoying your show with brunch and coffee. Waiting patiently to vote blue. And then, as Gene Hackman said in Mississippi Burning, watch the rattlesnakes commit suicide. Yep. Glenn, thank you for being so generous. There are gifted memberships to be had, folks. There are gifted memberships to be had. M. Grandison. Is it M. Grandison or M? How do I pronounce that, brother? You got to tell me. Such an embarrassment. He is. He is. McBashes, come on, dude. Even the big box of crayons has limitation. Oh, my God. Yeah, you know it, man. You know it. You know it. Jeff Schuler, you probably remembered the crayon picture of two guys in a rowboat throwing things over the side from his last intelligence briefing. I tell you what, man. I tell you what, that's the sad part is if they said, you know what, this is the intelligence briefings we've been giving Trump, and they showed a crayon picture of two guys in a rowboat throwing bombs over, you would not question that. You would, yeah, that checks. ET, the Mad King at an intel briefing, blah, blah, Trump, blah, blah, money, blah, blah, Trump people get involved. Yep. Glenn, his comment about Japan not warning him about the surprise attack on Pearl Harbor when he wasn't even a thought of being born yet is just eye-opening. What? Yeah, that whole press conference, he was sundowning so bad. Kimberly George, thank you. And if he said half the shit that they said that comes out of his mouth, and he was a Democrat, oh my God, they would literally be demanding to see an MRI. I'm talking about the corporate media. They would literally be demanding to see an MRI. JPR, after the attack, he stated, well, the guy we had in mind to take his place of the supreme leader is dead. Yeah, they killed their Johnny. We talked about that. He was also killed. Then later he made statements that he was going to decide who runs Iran, and now it was Israel. Yeah. Deludedly thought that they were just going to pick Iran's next leader, and then complained when he wasn't allowed to. Harold Puttinson, thank you for being here, brother. Thank you. Thank you for supporting the show. ET, they do not have to sell oil when they can make money on drones to Russia and charging toll for everyone else transiting the strait. Get involved. They've got to have that oil revenue. They do. It's a country of 90 million people. They've got to have that oil revenue. Sue, thank you. They can pretend for a while. They can have a North Korean style fake economy for a while, but not forever. Agent Cajun John, thanks for being here, brother. Thank you. Crafty Ass Gardner, thank you for gifting the memberships. A couple more and we're going to get back to work. What do I think of Netanyahu and Putin's relationship? There's a lot of cultural ties between Israel and Russia, but they are not exactly aligned. I think that Benjamin Netanyahu is a psychopath. He has a much stronger relationship with Russia than is portrayed here in our media. It is just a normal thing, as you said. Culturally, a lot of Israelis came from Russia. There are ties there, and he absolutely very tightly keeps his relationship with Putin. He is not to be trusted. He is not to be trusted in any way, shape, or form. He is a psychopath. He is. A couple more comments, and we're going to move on. ET, first priority for when we retake Congress, get rid of Citizens United for all time, period. Get involved, people. That means that you've got to get them a supermajority, ET, because Trump will not sign that. We've got to get them a supermajority. Mr. Will, hey, Paul, here with you as always. I'm enraged by the lying from this regime in front of Congress. It is shameful these sycophants are at the top. Thank you, brother. Chandra Patton. Chandra, thank you for always being here. I wonder how many of these maggots have family or friends in the military. What will it take for them to open their eyes? It's a cult. Nothing, ever. Ollie, no pickers for their crops. Yeah, that's a problem. We have a severe farm labor shortage right now. Kit, chat is not letting me comment. You know what? There is a bug that is part of YouTube that is a problem. It is a problem. If you were able to put this up, chances are you've got that bug. Believe it or not, it happened to me with Midas. I was completely unable to comment on their chat for the longest. They're very limited fixes to it, and it's out of my control. It just is. Google it. Google the chat bug that you're unable to chat, and you're not blocked and you're not muted. Just dismiss those out of hand. You're not blocked and you're not muted because you can post this. It is their bug. They'll list for you some of the things that you can do, but I will tell you, it's not good news. It is not good news. They're aware of it, and they don't know how to fix it. DK, I guess the farmers should not have voted for their orange God King. How many of us can grow our own food? Yeah, don't throw the Democratic farmers under the bus. About 40% of all farmers are Democrats. Aaron, that is a hard one to read. Aaron Dina Minderman. I don't know where I'm sorry. I'm killing that one. I am. Welcome. AFCAT has asked the PM. He asked the Prime Minister of Japan about Pearl Harbor. She was like 5 at the time. You should have seen her face. I mean, you should have seen her, because she knew this meeting was going to play in Japan because it was about their energy future. This was an intensely important meeting for the Japanese Prime Minister. Her people are in full freakout mode, folks. Rena, as farmers can no longer grow crops, it isn't the veggies that will hurt us. They will not have grains for cattle either. It is a mess right now. A mess. Gary, thank you for being here. Senator Kennedy equals Mr. Haney from Green Acres. Miguel Arcentales. Hey, Paul, in order to land troops on Kharg Island, we have to cross the Strait of Hormuz, which Iran is blocking. Actually, we will cross the Saudi desert. That's how we'll do it. Saudi Arabia wants us to do it. That's the other actor here besides Netanyahu that is involved in this. Mohammed bin Salman wants us to do this. Iran is his, I want to say arch enemy. I don't know the best way to classify that, but he wants Iran sidelined. He wants Iran diminished. So yeah, we're going to just drive right across the Saudi desert. Veggie Owl Girl, with the lack of components for fertilizer, would there be mass starvation worldwide? Yes. Yes, there would. Yes, there would. Dark Sunway, James harnesses faith in ways they can't. That's what they're afraid of. We need to take religion back. I'm not even religious, but I was raised that way. You know, I'm telling you, I got no problem with religious people. I don't. Real religious people like Brother James, I have no problem with that at all. I wish them all the well I can wish them, if they're decent. With Christian nationalism and the stuff, the poison that Republicans sell, that's why they're so terrified of this, because juxtapose the way James Tallarico talks with the way your average Christian nationalist talks, and it's just night and day. They're terrified of that. They know they lose in that head-to-head comparison. Gene Delane. Sorry I've been away from you for a while, but still appreciating your good words and truth telling. I appreciate you being here, brother. Welcome back. Welcome back. Weird Idaho liberal. My last trip to the grocery store gave my wallet PTSD and then went radical with certain threats. And now the billfold is on the run, being hunted by Secret Service. Protect your mental health. Yeah, I appreciate you, brother. You always crack me up. Lori Yates, great speech by Tallarico. Yes, it was. Yes, it was. Let's get back to work. I'll read some more comments a little bit later on. This is happening. Mark Wayne Mullen is actually, there are hearings. He's passed out of committee, and he's going to Congress. There's going to be hearings in Congress on this. But yeah, the Republicans are trying to pretend like he's normal. This is Ron Johnson talking about Mark Wayne Mullen.
I respect that he's an artisan. I respect that he's an entrepreneur, and I respect that he's a pugilist. However, good guy is not enough when it comes to running a government agency. Would you say the same thing if he was going to run the Fed and say, yeah, he's a good guy? The guy doesn't know how to count to 10, but, I heard he loves his dog. It sounds like a very low bar you got here, Senator.
I said he's more than a good guy. He's been very successful in business. He knows how to run an operation. He's succeeded everything in life. I think he owns a ranch. He's obviously representing the people from Oklahoma. He's built good relationships on the Hill, which is an important thing when you're Secretary of Department. You've got experts running the different divisions. You have to be a manager. You have to have those people skills. And
No, he does not. No, he's dumb as dog shit. He is dumb as dog shit. None of what Ron Johnson that is a completely false characterization, 100% false. He is not a good guy. He is basically 100% on board with the J6ers.
Has continued to say that he won the 2020 election, even though there's been 60 court cases saying the opposite. He has said he wants to federalize the elections. He has said name check cities, including Detroit. He has said voting machines are inaccurate. He has said in the State of the Union, I was on the Senate floor, paraphrase that if his side doesn't win in November, then the elections were rigged, which is exactly what he said 8 months before the 2020 election. You have your own history. You did not certify the 2020 election. There are people at the Department of Homeland Security, 3 people specifically who are well-known election deniers now running election security functions. Who won the 2020 election?
Ma'am, we know that President Joe Biden was sworn into office. He was the president for the last 4 years. But I do believe my job as Department of Homeland Security Secretary will be to make sure that we assure that the elections are are fair and people can trust them.
Does the
And
federal
moving
government
forward-
run the elections process or do states?
It's very clear in the Constitution that the states control state elections, and then there is some federal oversight that's on it, but the federal government can set some standards. So if you're talking about the Save American Act, requiring you, which is within the Constitution, by the way, requiring individuals to be citizens of the United States, I don't think it's too much to ask somebody to prove they're a citizen of the United States.
That's
to vote
not what
in a
we're
federal
talking about.
election.
I'm talking about administering the elections. If you are Secretary of Homeland Security, do you feel you have the authority to put uniformed officers at polling locations in 2026?
Ma'am, we said this in your office. The only reason why my officers would be there if there was a specific threat for them to be there, not for intimidation. And
So
I said
even though
would
we
be able
didn't
to
need
share
it
that.
during World War II, we didn't need it during Vietnam or the war on terror.
Yeah, she goes on and on. That's about half the video I showed you. It really, go take a look. She really goes point to point to point to point to point and shows that he is still on board with this bullshit narrative that the election was stolen from Trump. I mean, this guy is fucking pathetic and he is dumb as dog shit. And kudos, I hate that I am even saying these words. Kudos to Rand Paul. He's not pretending. He is calling it out. I mean, this is a bit of a long clip, so stick with me, but it's important.
But really, there's a pattern of this. Let's go ahead and roll the tape.
You know where to find me, any place, anytime, cowboy. Sir, this is a time, this is a place. If you want to run your mouth, we can be two consenting adults. We can finish it here.
Okay, that's fine. Perfect.
You want to do it now?
I'd love to do it right now.
Well, stand your butt up then.
You stand your butt up.
Oh, hold on.
Big guy.
Oh, stop it.
Is that your solution?
No, sit down.
All right, now, I'm not going to sit and run you a minute and a half of clips that we've already talked about. We've already shown about him being a jackass. That is exactly what Rand Paul did. We're going to fast forward through it. It's we're going to fast forward through some of it.
Well, go back to the 1800s and 1700s. They used to have canings.
And duels. And they used to have duels.
Yeah. Right. And there was a way that men used to settle their differences. I ignored him 4 times prior to that.
In the days after the fight, you did many interviews in which you justified the violence as historically justified by precedents, such as caning and dueling. Is it today your opinion that the caning of Charles Sumner was not only justified, but argues still for resolving our political differences with violence?
What I was simply pointing out is some of the rules that still apply to this body. For instance, dueling with 2 consenting adults is still there. I was pointing out what is
Been
still
illegal
acceptable.
for 170 years. There's no precedent for legal dueling. Even then, they fled the country. Do you realize that the man that beat Charles Sumner with a cane, he beat him till he was unconscious? You know why no senators intervened? Because his friend held a gun on the other senators, and he kept beating him until he crushed his skull. That's what you're insinuating is the precedent of the Senate, and that's what you live by. That is a very, very dangerous sentiment. But really, there's a pattern of this. Let's go ahead and roll.
Kudos to Rand Paul. He went through and he just showed different clips of Mark Wayne Mullen saying the stupidest shit. He literally he said that it's still a thing. That dueling is still a thing. And, Rand Paul there points out, no, dueling's been illegal for 170 years. It's not a thing. I mean, that's how stupid Mark Wayne Mullen is. And these Republicans are, well, he's a rancher. He's a rancher. Why wouldn't we let a rancher run the Department of Homeland Security? That's really where they're at, folks. That's really where the Republicans are at. He's a good guy. He's not a good guy. He is not a good guy. In any way, shape, or form of the definition, he is not a good guy. And he's got a stolen valor problem that he's getting called out on. And I hope to God that they can push this out into the media, because this is the one thing that will sink his nomination. He has been forever insinuating that he was part of the military, part of some secret operation in which he was involved in that was classified, that he could, because he made the comment that he knows what war smells like, you know, and it's stolen valor. It's stolen valor. And thank God he's being called out on it, but good God, I don't know why the press isn't running with this like crazy.
Ever an employee, volunteer, or otherwise involved with the Department of Defense, State Department, or other U.S. agency or contractor for any of those departments?
No. And Senator, I think there's a misunderstanding here that I could clear up if you want me to clear up for you.
Please.
Okay, so which this is official trip, and it is classified. But in 2015, I was asked to train with a very small contingency and go to a certain area, which was scheduled for 2016. During that time, I was asked to go through, had to meet certain training qualifications, had to go through SEER training. The training and stuff was kind of fun. The SEER training was absolutely awful. And I've spoken in general about my experiences, but I've never spoke specifically on details, on dates, or on the mission. And that was official. And there was nothing in the report to the committee. Actually, it said you do not have to claim any official trips. And like I said, that was an official trip that is classified.
This is an official trip while you were a member of Congress.
Yes. 2015, 2016, I was a member of Congress. Some of it may be public, but it would be very small. Most of it, because of my recollection.
All right, enough of the bullshit. He's claiming as a member of Congress that he went to war. He's claiming that he went to war. He saw combat. They went through SEER training. Bullshit. Bullshit. Why is this not all over the fucking news? Why isn't this all over he just said in a hearing, oh yeah, it's true, man. It's true. I went on a secret classified mission. Fuck you, dude. Fuck you. Fuck you. Folks, this is the kind of unseriousness that we're dealing with. This is the kind of low crap that we're dealing with. And it's not just Iran. It's not just, putting an idiot in charge of the Department of Homeland Security that has stolen valor problems, that doesn't live in reality. This is a small man, and he's got small man's complex, and he loves to threaten people, talk shit and act like, oh, I'm going to get into a fight, some fisticuffs. Dude, sit down, little man. Sit down. You're nothing. You're nothing but a liar and weak and small. But while this is going on, there are important things that are happening right now. And I do apologize. I don't like to share things from CBS News for obvious reasons, but they were the only people that got this headline correct. Of all places, CBS was the only place that got this headline correct. And no, I will not promote CBS. I will not. Barry Weiss is fucking disgusting, and you cannot trust CBS News anymore. But of all the headlines, when I was looking for something on this problem that's happening, they're the only fucking ones that actually mention this. Over a third of TSA officers call out at 3 major U.S. airports in a single day as funding standoff continues. I just want to clarify something for you. I just want to be completely clear. And if you are in TSA, I am sorry this is happening. The Democrats put forward a bill that would have allowed you to be paid. They tried to pay you. They tried to only make it about ICE, and Republicans refused. They wanted you to be used as props. They did. But it's worse than that, my friends at TSA. It is much worse than that. And if you know somebody at TSA, take a moment to take a look at where we are in the show, how many minutes we're in, and send this to them. Tell them to just watch this portion. Even if they don't want to watch the rest of the show, just watch this portion. Because what I'm about to say right here is so incredibly important. TSA is rightfully calling in. They are not being paid. They should not be forced to work without pay. It is only the Republicans that are refusing to pay them. The Democrats have proposed a bill for them to get paid, but it is worse than that. There has been no funding for the war in Iran. None. Nothing has come out of Congress. Republicans have just behind the scenes said that their ask is going to be $200 billion when they do, because they know they're going to have to fund it, especially after Trump puts boots on the ground. But they've been funding this to the tune of $1 billion a day simply by robbing Peter to pay Paul. $1 billion a day they've been able to come up with. They could have paid you. They can pay you. They can pay you. ICE was given a budget. They have the money and cannot spend it. It's so goddamn much money, ICE can't invent ways to spend this money. They were given a budget larger than the United States Marine Corps. That money's just fucking sitting there. They could be paying you, TSA. They could be paying you. Even if they did not want to comply with the Democrats' bill to try to just pay you legitimately, they could have found the money to pay you. But they want these airports backed up. They want. Let me see if I can find you some more images from today. CNN's talking about it. CNN's talking about it, but they don't have any serious images. Again, damn it, CBS. Forgive the pixelation. This is from where it's pulled from. But you've got lines in airports that are wrapping around outside of the airports today. That's going on today. They have the money to pay them. They do. A couple Republicans could just cross the line and vote with the Democrats to pass the bill to fund TSA. But they didn't. They just didn't. They won't. Because they just can't govern. They can't. And whenever there's an opportunity to do the right thing, they're going to choose to do the wrong thing. And if you don't believe me, this just happened. U.S. moves to soften capital rules. Big banks can declare mission accomplished. What this is talking about is, you remember during the crash from 2007 and 2008, they took a look at what caused that. They took a look at what caused it, not what they claimed caused it, because you remember they said this shit. They tried to blame that crash on black people. They did. This is a real headline. Mike Bloomberg once blamed banks making loans to black Americans as the cause of the 2008 financial crash. They really did try to blame that on black people. What they found out, it was bank mismanagement. They were overextended, not enough capital on hand. They weren't doing their due diligence in issuing. We talked about the liar's loans, the ninja loans, all of that. And that had nothing to do with black people. But they blamed black people. Well, they came up with a whole new set of rules for banks about how much money they had to keep on hand, reporting when loans are going bad, so that we're not caught playing catch up. We know when this shit is going bad in real fucking time. All of that's gone. It's gone. It's all gone. All those requirements, all that regulation has been stripped away. I mean, what could go wrong? What could go wrong? Meanwhile, Mango Mussolini, the demented dumbass, is worried about his coin, his new dollar coin. This is really what these Republicans are doing. In a slowing economy where we know we have systemic problems, they're stripping away the guardrails. They're stripping away the regulations on the banks and sending us back into the same condition we were in that caused the 2007 and 2008 crash. If you had to write a list of, hey, do this in order to destroy the United States of America, what are some of the things that would be on that list? What would you do? And this is a conversation, folks. This is us all talking to each other. And I know there's a little bit of a delay in between broadcast and when it hits you in the chat. But, I'm going to take a sip of coffee here and I'm going to let you to catch up. What are some of the things, if you had to say, okay, we're going to put someone in the presidency, and these are the things that they need to do to destroy the United States of America. Let me hear what you think would be on that list. Just throw them out in the chat. Spot on. That's one. Exacerbate the debt. Yep. Yep. Disrupt food and fuel supplies. Yep. Yep. War. Why? Sucks money straight out of the treasury. Yep. Get rid of regulation. Yeah. I mean, eliminate the safeguards. Bingo. Take away healthcare access. Make it more difficult. That's a big one. It's much bigger than people think. A sick population is a dying population. One I'm not seeing so far, because we haven't talked about immigration for a while, is you would eliminate the labor force for a country. You would eliminate the labor force, which is exactly what this ICE immigration raids are doing. Okay, all of these things that you're saying, that you're saying, how much of it is Trump doing? How much of it is Trump doing? All of it. All of it. You could not write a better candidate to destroy the United States of America. One that we didn't mention was destroy faith in elections. How many people on our side keep saying, there ain't going to be any elections, man. It's over, man. And that's our side. Imagine what they're saying on the other side. Destroy faith in elections. You could not script a better candidate to destroy the United States of America than what Donald Trump is doing right now on his own. You just couldn't. And it's just every aspect, it just keeps going on and on and on. This is happening right now. Ron Wyden is in a serious ass-kicking contest with Todd Blanche over at the Department of Justice. Ron Wyden has put this on the actual congressional page website for the Finance Committee. What this is about, this is an update on the Epstein situation, by the way. Senator Ron Wyden sits on the Finance Committee, but he is also one of the leading Democrats that has been pursuing investigations into Epstein and his co-conspirators. Because he sits on the Finance Committee, he was very privy to the wire transfers and data about the wire transfers. He saw a red flag. There was a DEA investigation about some of these Epstein wire transfers. And his first attempts for him as a senator to get that information, he couldn't get it. They were just stonewalling. What investigation? What are you talking about? Don't know anything about it. Doesn't exist. He went public with it. He put this on the Congress's Finance Committee page that, hey, there is a DEA investigation into these wire transfers that is not being released in the Epstein files. After they got called out, Todd Blanche went to friendly, the Hill. I used to use the Hill a lot as a source. I don't use it at all anymore because the first thing they did was they decided they had to go 50-50. They were going to split their house and say, okay, we're going to have crazy Republican shit and crazy Democrat shit. Well, it was the wrong way to put that, but then we're going to have standard, just normal journalism. And then we're going to have Republican bullshit made up journalism. And we're going to say it's 50-50. And we're going to say it's, both sides are, it's not. It's not. It never was. Well, now it's just gotten ridiculous. The Hill is absolutely fucking useless, as evidenced by the fact that when Blanche wanted to make this shit up and say, it didn't happen. I never stopped them from seeing this shit. The documents are there. He went to the Hill. And they gladly ran this headline. Blanche accuses Wyden of completely fabricated story on D.E. Epstein documents. When you go on to read it, they don't say it's a fabricated story. What they say is the documents are now available only to members of Congress and only in a special section. It's not even the, hey, you can go sit and peruse, where they're tracking what everybody's looking at. Oh no, this is a black box section in which Ron Wyden is privy to because he's on the finance committee. They're now making it available to Ron Wyden. And Ron Wyden is screaming, bullshit. This is supposed to be made, first of all, you lied. First of all, you tried to hide it. I had to backtrack it through the wire transfers. I demanded the documents. You were like, what documents? What investigation? I don't know shit. Then when I fucking nailed you on it, you're saying, it's available to you. Ron Wyden's saying, well, fuck you. It's not just supposed to be just available to me. You were supposed to release this. It's the fucking law. It is part of the Epstein document releases. The American public was supposed to know this was going on. You could have redacted the names of officers. You could have redacted any pertinent information you needed to redact, but keeping it hidden and lying about it is against the law. And this is what they're doing. This is what they're doing. They're only complying when they're caught so that they can argue in court that they didn't break the law. This is what we're dealing with. Catch me if you can. Catch me if you can. This has been going on since February, folks. This has been going on since February. They had to admit this in that article where they ran that headline that this was completely fabricated. Wyden first flagged the report in February and sent a letter to DEA Administrator Terry Cole requesting an unredacted version of the 2015 memorandum in which Epstein and 14 unnamed co-conspirators were being investigated for, quote, illegitimate wire transfers which are tied to illicit drug and prostitution activities occurring in the U.S. Virgin Islands and New York City. That's when they came clean. That's when they made the document available. And they're still not making it available to you. So we're going to have to take Ron Wyden's word for what's in it. This is who they are. And their cult is okay with it. They don't want to hear none of it. Nope. La, 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 la. Let me stick my fingers in my ears. La, 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 la. I can't hear anything. Epstein, you must be talking about Bill Clinton. La, 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 la. Fake news. I mean, that's what we're dealing with, folks. That is what we're dealing with. Before we go to our last thing we need to talk about today, I want to read a few more of your comments. Kathy Young says, Talarico was a true Christian. Still needs to be reminded that Jesus was a Jewish rabbi. I don't think anybody has forgotten that Jesus was a Jewish construction worker and a rabbi. Kyra, I'm sorry. You corrected me on this. I do apologize. You did, and I'm so sorry. I do. That's so disrespectful. And you even told me about this. Kyra, I'm sorry. Kyra, thank you. I do appreciate you. I really do. Kyra, thank you for keeping me straight on that. I'm truly grateful. You know, that's one of my pet peeves is mispronouncing people's names. Thank you, Kyra. I'm truly grateful. Chiron, ride or die. Keep up the excellent work. Thank you, brother. Thank you. Welcome. New members. Love it. Loving it. Rock and Ron, thank you for supporting the show, brother. Thank you for always being here. Fenrir, for all your vote doesn't matter and both parties are the same, not including the PSYOP aspects. I hope you see it does and they're not. Amen. We are not the same. Mr. Henrichsen, I appreciate you, brother. Gifted membership. Thank you for being so generous. Thank you, sir. FCAT, Donnie's coin looks like he's using a walker. Yep. 12E man 24. You don't need to. I will not accept that as currency, by the way. I understand the law, and I understand when they issue it as currency that it is the law that you have to accept it as currency. I will gladly die on that hill. I will never take a fucking Trump coin as currency. I know the law says it's good for all debts, public and private, but our relationship will fucking end if you try to make me take one of those coins. I am not doing it. 12 even, you don't need Jesus as Messiah. I see Jesus telling stories or fables. There's a decent lesson and thought to it. That's why I've never had a problem with real Christians. You know, because mostly the stories are, hey, don't be shitty to people. Take care of each other. I mean, who can't roll with that, you know? Dollar straws. That's why I've never had a problem with Muslims. That's why I love Sikhs. But you want to see a cool religion? Take a look at Sikhs. Yeah, I'm telling you. These are people that vow to defend you. Vow to defend the defenses. Sikhs are freaking cool, man. And I know I'm not pronouncing it correctly. I know it's sick. But for Americans, that sounds like you're saying sick, and they don't get it. And we've all grown up calling them Sikhs, even though it is absolutely incorrect. It's pronounced sick. Dollar straws, what they have done to Christianity is satanic. And if you don't know who the Sikhs are, they're the people that wear those really cool headdresses. Really cool. You know, the really tight ones that are not, yeah. Pablo 01 gifted 10 Texas Bomb. Thank you, brother. Thank you for being so generous. There are memberships to be had. If you want access to the emojis and stuff, there are memberships out there. Dark Sunray ordered 4 mugs. Thanks for the great selection. Thank you. I appreciate you supporting the show. I really appreciate it. And I love the mugs because it lasts. It is something that keeps reminding people those things will last for freaking. You can beat somebody half to death with one of these, man. These are badass mugs, man. If you like little lightweight cups, you know, like the really cool old China teacups, this ain't that. This you could give somebody a concussion with this thing. Welcome, G.H. Burton. Welcome. Couple more, and we're going to go to our last story. KL McLaren. Now that's a cool last name. If you love anything about racing, boy, you love to hear the name McLaren. When Rand Paul is one of the adults in the room, we have fallen very far indeed. I know. Isn't it just bizarro world? Just bizarro world. Jeff Schuler, a plumber with anger management issues and a room temperature IQ. What could go wrong? I know. Let's just put him in charge of one of the largest, most important and dangerous departments in the United States government. Shit. I mean, hell, why don't we just give them the Marines, man? Are the Republicans intentionally putting us in danger or just want another moron to manipulate? I swear to God, I am not into conspiracy theories, but if you look at these people and what they're doing, good God, it seems like they're intentionally destroying the country. It seems like it's intentional. By the way, take a moment to hit the thumbs up button. We've had up to 3,500 people in here today. Let's keep it rolling, man. Let's keep it rolling. Chandrapat, even bulls are insulted for using their shit. I hear you. I hear you. Dave Barone, Cousin Pondos, thank you for supporting the show, man. Midas Pilot, welcome. Welcome. Love to see all the new members. Crafty Asgarder, did you see Greg Casar interrupt Cornyn's political stunt and call him out for voting against funding TSA? More of that, please. Electives. Yeah. I'm telling you, folks, if you see anybody online that makes the statement, glad to see Democrats finally standing up, glad to see Democrats finally doing something, they're not paying attention. You know what? I got kind of pissed off yesterday at a couple one person's comment, and it just snowballed because I went and I can see who you're following, right? I mean, you know that, right? On any social media platform, I can see who you're following. And one person was talking about the Democrats just never get their message. Where are the Democrats? They never get their message out. Okay, who are you following? Clickbait, bullshit, anti-democrat motherfuckers in AOC. That's who they follow. That's it. That's it. How the fuck can you sit there and say the Democrats aren't this or the Democrats aren't that if you're not following Democrats? I mean, there are more than there are paid fucking trolls. They're having a meltdown right now over on the right because they got outed. Turning Point USA got outed paying right-wing influencers to shit talk Candace Owens. And the script that they had written for these people to use verbatim got leaked. And people are going back and they're pulling their posts up where they verbatim followed this script, man. And it's some big influencers on the right that are doing this shit, that are being paid by Turning Point USA to say this shit. They've got a whole avenue set up to pump this shit out into you. You have to actually follow Democrats. Guys like Robert Garcia, guys like, you can list it in chat. All the great people. Yes, and follow AOC. She's fucking fantastic. Follow her. But if that's the only Democrat you're following, don't ever tell me that the Democrats aren't doing something or you don't know or they're finally doing something. There's a reason I'm a ride or die Democrat because I see this shit. I see what they're doing. I see what Greg Casar's doing. I see follow these people. Follow them. Tube Kurt, Russia kept him out of prison and made him an oligarch. In return, he wrecks the dollar, serves Europe up on a plate and weakens the military. Yep. You couldn't script a better traitor. Dark Sunray, Donald Trump thinks he's a mob boss, but it's not just him. He's as far as a thing from a mob boss. He really is. He's pathetic. He's pathetic. Sandra Rogers, thank you. Welcome. Welcome to see glad to see the new members. Donna Bell. Got it. Facts don't have sides. They're just facts. I am so thankful for independent media like you. I'm thankful for you. I am thankful for you. And thank you for spelling it out for me. I appreciate you. I am truly grateful. Nicola 100. We must keep talking about the Epstein's files. This war is all about distracting us. Yep. That's why we're talking about Ron Wyden and all his everything that he's been doing. Jake from State Farm, welcome. Glad to see Jake from State Farm in the house. Uncle Fatty, they don't have to fool us all. Only need to scare the dumbest of us to believe that the libs are evil, coming for their jobs and daughters, their God, and what we want them dead, and that we want them dead. Hold the line. Amen. You know, it is. It's the absolute dumbest among us. And you see, I mean, that's what I'm showing you. They're just going to lie. That they're just going to make shit up. Oh, yeah, people are raiding ICE agents' homes, man. That's why we can't pass this bill. Bullshit. Bullshit. Jaylee, I think it comes down to the Supreme Court reversing presidential immunity and Citizens United. Oatmeal Pancake. Apparently, the USA, does not import oil from the Middle East. We are a net exporter. We do import some. We do, because, all right, real quick, Cliff's Notes. I promise I won't go deep into this. When you run oil through a refinery, it has to be a certain weight or gravity, which means you're not just going to run one type of oil through it, because you pull it out of the ground, it's not going to be the perfect weight. It's not. Some of our oil is very heavy, heavy sour crude. Some of our oil, like what comes out of here in Texas, is the really, really light stuff. Neither one will run through in peak efficiency through these refineries the way they're set up. So you blend it together to create a blend that is the right gravity, the right weight, to be the most efficient in your refineries. Some refineries are set up to run heavier stuff. Some are set up to run lighter stuff. But you have to mix it. We don't produce enough with the refineries we have to come up with enough to make these blends perfectly correct. So we export a lot of our heavier crude because we don't need it, and import light crude from places like Saudi Arabia so that we can make those blends correctly. Quantity wise, yes. If you just want to count barrels, we do pump more oil out of the ground than we use. We do. We could, in that way, yeah, that's true. But to have the right blend, to make the right recipe, no, we're not independent. We're not independent. Solar and wind would go a long way to defeating that problem. Fenrir, to make things more lighthearted, I unpacked my crock pot and am making beef stew. How do I Texify it? I love barbecue, but I'm a greenhorn. Ideas. Look up a recipe for carne asada. Because if you're going to Texify it, what you're really going to do is you're going to Mexify it. Look up a recipe for carne asada. And if you're just getting started on it, go easy on the chilies. Go easy on the chilies. You know, it's in a chili sauce is what it's in. You're going to make it more of a brown gravy with chilies in it the first few times you make it. It's one of those things, but once you get hooked on it, carne asada is one of the best things you'll ever have. And don't confuse it with carne asada. You want carne guisada, Guisada. Telling you. And don't confuse that with pork guiso, which is, it can be either red or green and is very spicy. Try it, carne asada. You'll love it. And yes, you can make it in a crock pot. And it's delicious. I'm telling you, some tortilla, you will be hooked, man. You will be hooked. Ask anybody in our audience that has any experience with it. It is one of the best things ever created on the face of the planet. Carne asada. Dark Sunray, yes, I've been saying for a while he's the least creative dictator. He's stealing that too. They want us gone, but when one drops, thousands stand up. Amen. Amen. All right, down to the last 4 comments, and then we can get back to the last story. Weird Idaho liberal. I'm all caught up. Now on the low on the probable, provable, most likely on theory, but the destabilizing of the world. Should we look up and scan the skies for little gray men? Aliens, man. Aliens. No, it's not the aliens. It's not. What I really think is that billionaires have figured out that they make money off chaos. The other end of chaos are, during and on the other end of chaos, our lives suck, but they just get richer. Yeah. Sally, Hakeem Jeffries does press conference almost every day. Yeah, almost every single day. B. Amendola, glad to see B. Welcome. Tia B. Skeets there. Saudi oil used to and still does fuel a lot of American vehicles. Then Canada took over after the 70s, but you pissed us off. So yeah, a lot of the oil that comes out of Canada ends up going to China because, again, we only need so much heavy crude. And if you want to know about the Carne Asada, ask Tia B. She'll tell you about it. She will tell you about it. Annie Q. Crowley. Donald J. Trump just promised he was going to ban windmills after he sabotaged the price of oil. I know. It's insane. Killing renewables. Last comment, and we're going to get back to work. Ryan C., thanks for being patient. Ryan, firstly, just the fact that his name is Mark Wayne, and I'm like, it's no for me, dog. Yeah, get the fuck out of here with that shit. LOL. By the way, the Sikh men don't cut their hair, so under that wrap, it's really long. That's true. If you don't know who the Sikh, this is. I've actually taught my grandchildren. You've seen them. These are Sikhs. These are Sikhs. You've seen them before. That is a cool religion. That is a very cool religion. I'm telling you, they are just sworn to defend those that cannot defend themselves. It is part of their religion. They are some of the best human beings on the face of the planet. They really are. Good and decent people. Now, you can't say that. I'm sure somewhere, somehow, one of them got screwed up and ended up being a goddamn criminal. Somebody somewhere on the right wing is going to say, oh, Paul likes these Sikhs. Look at this one that abused a child. Fuck off with that. I'm talking about in general, Sikhs are really good and decent people. I will tell you, and I've talked about this before. I've talked in our trip to Niagara Falls. We went to the Canadian side, met a wonderful gentleman, Sikh gentleman, and we sat and had a conversation for about 2.5 hours about world events. Just the nicest, friendliest person you would ever want to meet in your life. Turned out he was an airline executive, really sharp guy. We talked about Dubai and some of the, like the immigration and the fact that he had to move, he aged out. Yeah, they have age limits on who can live and work there. Cool people, man. But let's talk about what's going on. I am loath to compliment the corporate media. I am. I can't play but a few seconds of this clip because CNN will force me. They'll take my show down until I delete it. So I can only play you about 10 seconds of this clip. But it is on CNN's page in their reels. And I'm not going to start it right away because I want you to be able to see what Caitlin Collins looks like, because it's about 5 or 6 rows down. When you go to CNN on Facebook and you click on their reels, it's going to be hard to find this one. This one, they've buried this one. Even though it's brand new and fantastic, I would love for you to go watch this. Caitlin Collins just lays this out absolutely clear what happened in the meeting. Democrats actually got up and walked out of this meeting, but she was actually talking about the dust up between Summer Lee and James Comer before the Democrats walked out. And we're going to talk about that. And it's not just about the disrespect they paid to Summer Lee. There's more to it than that, why they got up and walked out. But yeah, this is Caitlin Collins. She actually gives an accurate, unvarnished take. Now, was it on CNN? Nope. To find this, you have to go to CNN's Facebook page, click on Reels, and look for this image. Look for this image. This is what it'll look like. Okay? She freaking nails it and is completely unvarnished and honest and direct and just nails it.
So it turns out things got very heated very quickly when Attorney General Pam Bondi and the Deputy Attorney General showed up on Capitol Hill to brief lawmakers on the House Oversight Committee on their Epstein investigation. Now, remember, this is the same committee with Republicans who recently issued that subpoena for Pam Bondi to come and testify during a deposition. This was just a brief.
Got to cut it off so they don't end up making me take it down. It is really good. Go watch that. Go after the show, go to Facebook, do a search in the upper left-hand corner for CNN, click on their reels and find that reel. She nails it. Now, what I can put up is what Summer Lee released about her. You're not going to believe this shit. You are not going to believe this shit. This was a closed hearing, so we've got no footage of it, but it's been confirmed. It's been confirmed. Let's let the absolutely awesome and incredible Summer Lee explain to you what happened.
So I just walked out of a fake deposition, fake hearing with Pam Bondi, where Chairman Comer called me a bitch. So here's what actually happened. We had already subpoenaed her because she has not been in compliance with our subpoena and the Epstein Transparency Act to release the full, complete, unredacted Epstein files. She has been withholding them. She has been obstructing justice since last July.
Yeah, that really happened. That really happened. And Caitlin Collins lays it out. Go watch that. She does. She lays it out. But I want to talk about it is more than that. The Democrats got up and walked out. They did. And it wasn't just over the disrespect paid to Summer Lee. Because technically he didn't say, Summer Lee, you're a bitch. He told her she was being bitchy. Same thing. Told her she was being bitchy. But they did get out and walk out. What I've heard on the inside track, on the inside baseball, is this. They knew something was wrong because Pam Bondi was sweet as honey. So nice, so friendly. They're like, what the fuck? Because Pam Bondi is never nice. Never. So one of the Democrats said, something's wrong here. And we know what they're trying to do. We know what they're trying to do. We have subpoenaed Pam Bondi, not for this meeting. This meeting was already scheduled. This is important. Follow these dots, okay? Follow these dots. This meeting was scheduled before Pam Bondi was ever subpoenaed to appear under oath. She was in this meeting not under oath. That's very important. She was not under oath. The dust up happened with Summer Lee and Pam Bondi, and James Comer weighed in, and Pam Bondi's like, hey, are we going to do this? Are we still doing this? Because this feels like what you're trying to do is sneak this in and say, exactly, a rug pull, exactly. This feels like what you're trying to do is you're trying to make this her testimony, and this is not under oath. So I need a commitment. I need to know. I need to hear. Are we holding the April 14th questioning under oath per our subpoena? And Pam Bondi said, I can't commit to that. We'll see what happens. Bullshit. It's a subpoena. You're going to fucking be there. My question isn't to you. It's to James Comer. And James Comer told Summer Lee she was being bitchy, in which Robert Garcia started swinging and told her, hey, bullshit. I need a commitment. I need to know we're going to do this shit under oath, because this right here, this don't cut it. She can lie. She can say any damn thing she wants. And we can already tell she's fucking acting. Are we going to do? And James Comer said, well, we'll see. And the minute they said that, every Democrat stood the fuck up and walked out. Why? Because this can now not replace that hearing. They cannot use what happened with Pam Bondi not under oath and say, oh, we don't need her under oath. We don't need that subpoena anymore because we had a hearing. And dumbass Boebert let the cat out of the fucking bag. She's so stupid. She's the dumbest congressman. I told you, they're idiots. They're fucking idiots. She let the press conference, she let the press release out. She had it scheduled, did not have the wherewithal to know, okay, shit just went sideways. I can't say the part out loud where we're going to say, we don't need the subpoena anymore. We don't need the meeting where she's under oath anymore. We had the meeting and she was cooperative. That press release went out, even though Democrats got up and walked the fuck out and they didn't hold the meeting. So that was their strategy. Since that press release went out from Bobo saying, oh, that was their plan. That was their plan all along. They were going to hold a not under oath, bullshit, kissy face. Pam Bondi was going to act. She was going to be, oh, I'm friendly, I'm cooperative, but not under oath, so she can fucking lie. She can say any damn thing she wants. And the Democrats wrecked their entire plan. They all, to the last man and woman, got up and walked the fuck out. So the Republicans do not have a meeting in which they can use to say, oh, now we don't need Pam Bondi under oath. Oh, yes, we do. Oh, yes, we do. And guys like Senator Ron Wyden are providing the big artillery and the huge stories like, oh, by the way, there's a DEA investigation. Why isn't that released? Under oath. Fucking lie and say you tried to release. Fucking lie and say you always released it. Fucking lie under oath and say that you didn't tell Ron Wyden. What investigation? What are you talking about? Tell me Democrats aren't on it. This is what they do every damn day, folks. Every damn day they are fighting the good fight and getting it done. Every day. But the clickbait son of a bitch over on Blue Sky or Threads or wherever the hell that loves to shit talk Democrats is dumb as dog shit, doesn't understand politics, doesn't follow Democrats, doesn't pay attention to the backstory, doesn't analyze what happens, what's going on in the background. All he does is say stuff like strongly worded letter over and over and over again to the dumbest fucking people on our side. Who respond, Democrats. Fucking morons. I get so tired of them. I do. I really do. I'm the worst cheerleader in the world for that issue. I am. I will tell you, you need somebody that's nicer, that's more like James Tallarico, that can talk to these people, because I'm just going to sit here and say, you're fucking stupid. I am the wrong cheerleader for that particular segment. I know it. I know it. I am not trying to break bread with these people. I'm not trying to be the example of the motivator to get these dumb fuckers to vote. We're going to have to find another voice. Maybe Midas can handle it better than me. I don't, but I am the wrong person to be doing that, because these fucking annoying people piss me off. You hear somebody say, well, it's about time the Democrats stood up. All I'm seeing and hearing is somebody that doesn't know fuck all about Democrats. And I invite you to go see who they're following. Click the following button and see who they're following. And it'll be the same clickbait motherfuckers that talk shit about Democrats every goddamn day. That's who they'll be following. And AOC and Bernie. That's it. That's it. That's who they'll follow. Oh, I can't stand these people. I am so glad to see it. I'm gonna invite Richard on the show. I'm telling you, he's a friend of the show. I love and respect the guy. He won his primary. Kudos to Major Jetta. We're going to nail this. We're going to nail this. We're going to get him on the show in the next few weeks. This also happened. Last story I got for you today. This is just something that I want you to take with you. This is happening. This is on Mother Jones. You know I love good journalism. You know I love good journalism. And Mother Jones kills it. Absolutely kills it when it comes to journalism. They do. This is from Katie Hirschenroder over there. If you go over to Mother Jones, Mojo Wire is like their blog set on Mother Jones. This story is, it will make your skin crawl. It will. This is some sick shit. These poor young ladies, they are suing Elon Musk and XAI. If you're not aware, Grok, freaking disgusting weirdo, Elon Musk's AI was written in a way, if you try to get other AIs, to generate naked images for you, they won't. They won't. The safeguards are there. He specifically wrote Grok so that it would. It was a business decision. He was going to take all the nasty AI porn business. It was a business decision. And these young ladies are going to win. They are so going to win. They are so going to win. This trial is exposing the nastiness and the ugliness that is Elon Musk. He's going to have to testify. He is. He's going to have to testify to his decisions on making Grok able to do this. These young ladies, man, I'm telling you, they tell their stories. This is great journalism. And I'll just give you the Cliff's Notes on one of the stories. It will piss you the fuck off. This young lady, they took images from the yearbook She didn't just find herself. They didn't just do this to her, where they took her images, gave them to Grok, and said, hey, make this one naked. And this is an underage girl. This is a young girl. This is a child. And Grok generated the naked images of her. And not just her. When she found this, they started looking, and somebody that had access to their yearbook took images of all kinds of women, young women, girls. I said women. Girls, children, not women, out of this yearbook, and generated naked images of them and were trading them on pedo sites. She said that was one of the most horrible things that they found out during the investigation, was they had taken her image and not only publicly, did an AI generation of her nude, not only did they spread that around in public, but they traded it on pedo sites for other images that were not AI generated. Which has this child horribly, she feels guilty. She feels guilty. She has no reason to. She didn't do this. But she knows other children, they took her image and traded it, and other children were abused, and she was used as currency. I'm telling you, the facts that are coming out in this case are horrific. They will make your skin crawl. You need to know who Elon Musk is. And this was a business decision. This was a choice. And this is a civil case, a lawsuit, not a criminal investigation, a lawsuit. Why? Ask Pam Bondi. Ask Pam Bondi. Ask the Republicans in Congress that are refusing to pass any legislation to make this a crime. They refuse. They absolutely refuse. Democrats have been fighting to try to get this shit regulated. They have. They've been fighting to do it. And Republicans will not. They protect the pedophiles. They protect the pedophiles in the Epstein files. They hide investigations. When AI is being used to victimize young girls, they protect the pedophiles there by saying, oh no, we can't have regulation. Bullshit. And it's not that hard. Your AI generator will not do that. The one you're using won't do that. Hell, most of them won't even generate an image of Donald Trump in close. They have all kinds of guardrails that they have put on themselves with no legal regulation. But then you've got Elon Musk and Grok out there. Hey, let's get the porn business. Let's get the porn business. And you want to hear something really sick? Business is booming for them. porn sells. We are not the same, people. We are not the same. Get out there, get involved with your local Democratic Party. Win those school board elections. Win those local elections. Let's show up. We got midterms. We got midterms coming up. Not that far away. Let's get it done, people. Let's get it done. Let's do it. Let's do it. Oatmeal Pancake says, so gas prices are high because war and price gouging. That's true. That is true. Taylor Ashwood, welcome. Love all the new people. Thank you. Sergeant Flux, I will accept a Trump coin and melt it down. Not me, brother, because it's not going to be. No, the ones that go into circulation are going to be trash, just like the rest. Like, your coins are not silver. Your coins are not. You'd be wasting $1. Glenn Kaneko, wonderful talk between Mark Elias and George Conway, who's running for Congress. We need George in Congress. Jeff Schuler, don't forget that George Conway's a Republican, people. He may have left the party, but if there is a liberal running against him, consider it. Jeff Schuler, one of them is Musk's ex-wife who filed a separate lawsuit because it's in some way tied to a custody suit. Musk is twisted. Yep. Mr. Knutson, help Richard navigate Paul. He is a force of nature, but could use a guide to strategize. I'm sure you know what I mean. Hint, Michael Cohen and similar. Once he is elected, you got a real fighter. I love Richard Ojeda. I really do. He's a good guy. He's a good man. He's going to be the kind of person that we want in Congress. We do. He is a good guy. We're going to have him on the show here pretty quick. We really are. Well, folks, that's what I have for you today. I really appreciate you being here. I hope you find what we've done useful. I hope that we can get out there and punch some of those your drunk ass uncle in the face with some facts. Shut them down. Shut them down. What is Mexican chili called? Chili. That's where you get it from. That's where you get it from. Mexico. Chile. On that note, you're the best people. You really are. I love reading your comments, and I do apologize for that. I do. I apologize for that. I get distracted sometimes during the show just watching your conversations. I fucking love you people. I really do. I wish I could be in the chat during the show, man. That's why I like to pop in. I know you. That's why I'm a sparkler. That's why I follow Midas. I love these guys. They do great work. That's not the only reason why. But I really enjoy just popping into chat in those shows and stuff because I get to just hang out with you people. I love these conversations that you're having. Please forgive me if I get sidetracked and you see me just do this, because that's me reading your comments. Enjoy some Texas cities at night.